Hello and welcome to Cozy English Story. Have you ever waited for someone who promised to come back, but never did? Have you ever trusted someone so deeply that their words became your only hope? In today's story, you will learn English through simple sentences, real emotions, and a powerful story about love, trust, and waiting. Stay with me and let's begin. My name is Daniel Harper. I'm a watch repairman in a small town. I fix clocks and old watches every day. I live alone in a quiet house at the end of Maple Street. My life is simple and slow. I wake up early, drink my tea, and open my shop at 9. People come to me when their time stops. I help them make it move again. But there was a time when my life felt different. There was someone in my life. Her name was Clara. I met her on a soft spring afternoon. The sun was warm, and my shop was quiet. She walked in slowly, holding a small broken watch in her hand. Her eyes looked tired, but her smile was gentle. "Can you fix this?" she asked. I looked at the watch, then at her. "Yes," I said. "I think I can." She smiled again. That smile stayed with me even after she left. After that day, she came back many times. Sometimes she brought something to fix. Sometimes she just came to talk. She told me she was a teacher at the local school. She loved books and quiet places. She spoke softly, but her words were full of feeling. Slowly, she became part of my daily life. Every morning, I hoped she would visit. Every evening, I thought about her. My quiet shop felt warmer when she was there. Even the ticking clock sounded softer. One day, she looked around my shop and said, "Daniel, all these clocks, don't they make you tired?" I smiled. "No, they remind me that time is alive." She looked at me for a moment and said, "Sometimes, I wish time would stop." I didn't understand her words. I just laughed a little. But now, I remember that moment very clearly. We started spending more time together. We walked near the river. We shared simple meals. She told me stories about her students. I listened. I always listened. Then one evening, everything changed. It was cold. The wind was strong, and the sky was dark. I was closing my shop when she came in. She looked different. Her face was pale, and her smile was not the same. "Daniel," she said, "can we talk?" I nodded. We sat inside. The clocks were ticking loudly around us. "I have to go," she said. My heart felt heavy. "Go? Where?" "Just away, for a while," she answered. "For how long?" I asked. She looked down. "I don't know." Something felt wrong. "Why didn't you tell me before?" She stayed silent for a moment. Then she said, "I didn't want to worry you." I stood up slowly. "Clara, what is happening?" She came closer and held my hands. Her hands were cold. "Please don't ask too many questions," she said softly. "I promise. I will come back." Those words stayed in my heart. I will come back. I wanted to believe her. I trusted her. "Then I will wait," I said. She smiled gently. "I know you will." Later that evening, I walked her to the small gate outside my house. The air was cold, and the road was quiet. She looked at me and said, "Take care, Daniel." "You too," I replied. She stepped closer and hugged me. It was a soft, quiet hug, but I felt something strange. It felt like she was saying goodbye forever. "Don't forget me," she whispered. "I never will," I said. She pulled away, smiled one last time, and walked down the road. I watched her until I couldn't see her anymore. That was the last time I saw Clara. The next morning, I woke up early. I made 2 cups of tea, like always. One for me, and one for her. I sat by the window and waited. Maybe she would come back today, but she didn't. Days passed. Every day, I sat by the window and looked at the road. Morning, afternoon, and night. I waited. At first I felt hope. Maybe she was busy. Maybe something delayed her. Maybe tomorrow. I kept her favorite book on the table. Her cup stayed in the same place. I didn't move anything. I wanted everything to stay the same for her. People in town started asking questions. "Where is Clara?" they asked. I always gave the same answer. "She will come back." But at night, when everything was quiet, my thoughts became louder. What if something happened to her? What if she couldn't come back? Or, what if she didn't want to come back? One evening, I thought I saw someone on the road. My heart started beating fast. It's her. I stood up quickly and went to the door. My hands were shaking. I opened the door slowly. "Clara!" I called. But there was no one there, only the empty road and the cold wind. I stood there for a long time. Something felt different inside me. For the first time, I felt fear. And a question slowly grew in my mind. Did she really mean her words? Or was "I will come back" just something she said to leave? I closed the door slowly, but I did not stop waiting, because deep inside, I still believed her. And I knew I would keep waiting, no matter how long it takes. The days became longer after that. At first, I still followed my normal routine. I opened my shop at 9. I repaired watches. I spoke to customers. I smiled when they smiled. But inside, something had changed. My thoughts were not in the shop anymore. They were always on the road outside my window. Every small sound made me look up. Every passing shadow made my heart move faster. But it was never her. 1 week passed, then 2, then a full month. People in town began to notice. One morning, Mrs. Collins, an old woman who often came to fix her watches, looked at me carefully and said, "Daniel, you look tired." "I'm fine," I answered quickly. She shook her head. "You are waiting for her, aren't you?" I stayed silent. "She may not come back," she said gently. I felt something sharp in my chest. "She will," I replied. "She promised." Mrs. Collins sighed. "Promises are easy to say, Daniel. Life is not always easy to follow." I didn't want to hear more. I focused on the watch in my hands. "Your watch will be ready tomorrow," I said. She looked at me for a moment longer, then left without another word. That day, I closed my shop earlier than usual. I went home and sat by the window again. The road was quiet. I started to remember every detail about Clara. The way she smiled. The way she spoke. The way she looked at me when she thought I was not watching. I tried to hold on to those memories, because they were all I had. Another month passed. The weather changed. The warm days became colder. Leaves started falling from the trees. The air felt empty, just like my house. I still made 2 cups of tea every morning, one for me, one for her, but her cup always stayed full. One evening, my neighbor Thomas knocked on my door. He was a kind man, a farmer who lived nearby. He didn't talk much, just like me. "Daniel," he said, standing at the door, "I haven't seen Clara in a long time." I nodded slowly. "She went away for a while." "For a while?" he repeated. "Yes. She said she would come back." Thomas looked at me with serious eyes. "And you believe that?" "Yes," I said without thinking. He paused. "Daniel, I heard something." My heart started beating faster. "What did you hear?" "They say someone saw her at the train station," he said. I stepped closer. "When?" "A few weeks ago," he replied. "She was carrying a bag. She looked like she was leaving town." I felt the ground move under my feet. "That doesn't mean anything," I said quickly. "She told me she had to go away." Thomas nodded slowly, but his face showed doubt. Maybe, he said, but she wasn't alone. My breath stopped. What do you mean? There was a man with her, he said carefully. The room felt suddenly cold. A man, I whispered. Thomas nodded. I don't know who he was, but they were talking closely. It didn't look like a short trip. I shook my head. No, that's not possible. She would have told me. I'm just telling you what I heard, Thomas said. Maybe it's not true. But his words stayed in my mind. After he left, I sat in silence. A man. Who was he? Why didn't she tell me? That night, I couldn't sleep. My mind was full of questions. I kept seeing Clara at the train station, standing next to someone else, smiling at someone else. No, I said to myself. I trust her. But for the first time, that trust felt weak. The next day, I went to the train station. I hadn't been there in years. It was small and quiet, just like our town. A few people waited for the next train. The wind moved softly across the empty tracks. I walked slowly to the ticket counter. The man behind it looked at me. Can I help you? Yes, I said. I'm looking for someone. He nodded. Who? Her name is Clara, I said. She was here a few weeks ago. He thought for a moment. Clara, yes. I remember. My heart jumped. You do? Yes, he said. She bought a ticket. To where? I asked quickly. He looked at me, unsure. Why do you want to know? Please, I said. It's important. He hesitated, then said quietly. She bought a one-way ticket. My chest felt tight. One way? He nodded. To where? I asked again. He lowered his voice. To the city. The city. That was far away. Was she alone? I asked, my voice shaking. The man looked at me carefully. Then he said, No. Everything inside me went silent. She was with a man, he continued. They looked close. I stepped back slowly. Close. The word hurt more than anything else. Thank you, I said, though I didn't feel thankful at all. I walked out of the station. The sky was gray. The wind was cold. I felt lost. Had she lied to me? Had everything been a lie? No, I said softly. There must be a reason. I wanted to believe that. I needed to believe that. When I returned home, everything looked the same. Her book was still on the table. Her cup was still there. Nothing had changed. But now, everything felt different. That evening, I sat by the window again. The road was empty. But this time, I was not only waiting, I was questioning every memory, every word, every smile. Was it real? Or was I the only one who believed it was? The sun slowly went down. The sky turned dark. And as I sat there, I realized something that made my heart sink even deeper. If she truly wanted to come back, she already would have. And yet, a part of me still whispered, wait one more day. The next morning felt heavier than all the others. I woke up before the sun, but this time, I didn't make 2 cups of tea right away. I sat on the edge of my bed and stared at the floor. My mind was full of questions, and none of them had answers. Clara and a man. The image would not leave me. After a long time, I stood up slowly and walked to the kitchen. I looked at her cup. It was still there, clean, untouched, waiting like me. I picked it up. My hand shook. For a moment, I thought about putting it away. Just for one day. Just to see how it felt. But I couldn't. I placed it back on the table and made 2 cups of tea again. I'm still here, I whispered. That day, I didn't open my shop. For the first time in years, the door stayed closed. Instead, I decided to do something I had never done before. I was going to the city. If Clara was there, I had to find her. The journey took many hours. The train moved fast, but my thoughts moved faster. I looked out the window, but I didn't see the trees or the fields. I only saw memories, her smile, her voice, her last words. I will come back. When I arrived in the city, everything felt loud and strange. There were too many people, too many sounds, too many lights. I felt small, like I didn't belong there. But I didn't stop. I asked people. I showed her name. I described her face. Some people listened. Some didn't care. Days passed. I stayed in a small, cheap room near the station. I walked the streets from morning to night. I visited schools, cafes, and quiet corners. Anywhere she might go. But I couldn't find her. On the third day, I almost gave up. I was tired. My feet hurt. My heart felt empty. I sat on a bench near a park, staring at nothing. Daniel? I froze. That voice. Slowly, I turned around. It was her. Clara. She stood a few steps away, wearing a simple coat. Her hair was shorter now. Her face looked thinner. But it was her. For a moment, I couldn't speak. Clara, I finally said. She looked shocked. What are you doing here? I stood up. My hands were shaking. I came to find you. Her eyes filled with something I couldn't understand. You shouldn't be here. Why? I asked. You said you would come back. She looked away. Why didn't you tell me the truth? I continued. Why did you leave like that? She stayed silent. And who is he? I asked, my voice breaking. Her head moved slightly. You heard about that. Yes, I said. I saw the station. They told me everything. She closed her eyes for a moment. It's not what you think, she said quietly. Then tell me, I said. Because I've been waiting. Every day, every night. I believed you. I know, she whispered. Then explain, I said, louder now. People around us started looking, but I didn't care. She took a deep breath. His name is Adrian. The name felt sharp in my ears. He is my brother, she continued. I blinked. Your brother? She nodded slowly. Yes? I felt confused. You never told me you had a brother. I didn't, she said, because I didn't know. I stared at her. What do you mean? She sat down on the bench, and I followed. My life was not always simple, she said. When I was a child, I was separated from my family. I grew up in different places. I never knew where I truly belonged. I listened carefully. A few months ago, she continued, I received a letter. It said my brother was looking for me. And you believed it? I asked. I didn't know what to believe, she said, but I had to find out. So you left, I said. Yes. Without telling me the truth. Her eyes filled with tears. I was scared, Daniel. Of what? Of losing everything, she said. If it wasn't true, if he wasn't really my brother. I didn't want to break your heart for nothing. I shook my head. But you broke it anyway. She looked down. I waited for you, I said softly. I trusted you. I know, she whispered, and I'm sorry. The word sorry felt small. Too small. So, is it true? I asked. Is he really your brother? She nodded. Yes. I did tests. I spoke to people. It's real. I stayed silent for a moment. And now? I asked. What happens now? She looked at me, and her eyes were full of pain. I can't come back, she said. Those words hit me harder than anything else. Why? I asked. Because I have a family now, she said. A real one. I lost so many years. I can't leave again. And me? I asked quietly. She didn't answer. Was I nothing? I said. No, she said quickly. You were everything to me. Were? I repeated. She closed her eyes. I still care about you, she said. But my life, It's here now. I felt something break inside me. All those days, all those nights, all that waiting. For you, it was just time, I said slowly. But for me, it was my whole life. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said, crying now. But you did, I replied. We sat in silence. The city noise filled the space between us. I thought you would come back, I said. I wanted to, she whispered. But you didn't. No, I stood up. I should go, I said. Daniel, she called softly. I stopped, but I didn't turn around. I never forgot you, she said. I closed my eyes. Then why does it feel like you did? I asked. She had no answer. I walked away slowly. Each step felt heavy. Each step felt final. But just as I reached the end of the path, I heard her voice again. Daniel, wait! I stopped. And in that moment, I didn't know if I should turn back or keep walking. I stood there, frozen between two choices. My heart was pulling me back, but my pain was pushing me forward. Slowly, I turned around. Clara was standing there, her eyes red from crying. She looked smaller than before, like life had taken something from her too. Please, she said softly, just listen to me one more time. I walked back to her, but I kept a small distance. I don't have much to say, I told her. But I'll listen. She nodded, trying to stay calm. I know I hurt you, she began. And I know sorry is not enough. But you need to understand something. When I found my brother, everything changed inside me. I didn't speak, I just watched her. For the first time in my life, she continued, I felt like I belonged somewhere, like I wasn't alone anymore. And I made you feel alone, I said quietly. She shook her head. No, you gave me a home when I had none. You gave me peace. You gave me love. But it wasn't enough, I said. Her eyes filled again. It was enough, but life asked me to choose. And you didn't choose me. She looked down. I chose the part of me that I lost for so many years. I took a deep breath. It hurt, but I understood a little. Why didn't you tell me the truth? I asked again, softer this time. Because I was afraid, she said. Afraid that if I told you, you would stop me. Or worse, you would come with me and lose your own life. I almost smiled, but it was a sad smile. You should have given me that choice. I know, she whispered. We stood in silence again. So this is it? I asked. This is how our story ends? She stepped closer, but still kept space between us. I don't want it to end like this, she said, but I don't know how to fix it. I looked at her carefully. For the first time, I saw not just the woman I loved, but also a stranger. Some things cannot be fixed, I said. Her lips trembled. But they can be accepted, I added. She looked at me, surprised. I waited for you for so long, I continued. I stopped my life. I held on to your words like they were the only truth. I paused. But now I see. They were just a moment, and I turned them into forever. Tears rolled down her face. I never wanted you to suffer, she said. I know, I replied. And maybe, I never wanted to see the truth. The wind moved softly around us. I think it's time for me to stop waiting, I said. Those words felt heavy, but also freeing. Clara closed her eyes. Will you forget me? I shook my head. No. I will remember you, but I won't wait for you anymore. She nodded slowly. That's fair, she whispered. I took one last look at her. Goodbye, Clara. Goodbye, Daniel. This time I walked away, and I didn't turn back. When I returned to my town, everything looked the same. The small houses, the quiet roads, my little shop. But something inside me had changed. The next morning, I woke up early. I went to the kitchen, I made 1 cup of tea. Just one. I looked at the empty space where her cup used to be. Then I gently put it away. For the first time, I was not waiting. Days passed. Then weeks. I opened my shop again. I fixed watches. I spoke to people. Slowly, I started to feel present in my own life again. One evening, I sat by the window as usual. The road was still there. People walked by. Life moved forward. And so did I. Clara never came back. But I no longer needed her to, because I finally understood something important. Waiting is not love. Letting go can also be love. And sometimes the hardest goodbye is the one that sets you free. Now, it's time to learn some important words from the story. Promise means to say you will do something for sure. For example, I promise I will come back. Trust means to believe someone is honest and good. Daniel trusted Clara completely. Doubt means to feel unsure about something. Daniel started to feel doubt when Clara didn't return. Alone means to be by yourself, without anyone. Clara felt alone before she found her brother. Belong means to feel like you are in the right place with the right people. Afraid means to feel fear. Clara was afraid to tell the truth. Choice means a decision between 2 or more options. Suffer means to feel pain or sadness for a long time. Accept means to understand something and stop fighting it. Let go means to stop holding onto something or someone. Wait means to stay and hope for something to happen. Goodbye means to say farewell when leaving someone. Try to use these words in your own sentences. This will help you remember them better. Now it's time for shadowing practice. Listen and repeat after me. I trusted her. She said she would come back. I waited every day, but she didn't return. I felt alone. My heart was broken. I wanted answers. I found the truth. She had a new life. I had to let go. It was painful, but I accepted it. I stopped waiting. I started living again. I will remember her, but I will move on. Say these sentences slowly, then say them again with feeling. This will help your English sound more natural. Thank you so much for listening to this story. Did you ever wait for someone like Daniel did? What would you do in his situation? Do you think Clara made the right choice? Write your answers in the comments. I would love to hear from you. Take care, keep learning, and see you next time on Cozy English Story.